video, I want to show you a recipe that is delicious. A friend of mine made this for us. We had gone over to her house for dinner, and it's a Brussels sprout, squash, pecan kind of a dish, and it is delicious. So I want to share this with you guys. It actually, she believes that she had gotten it from like Martha Stewart from her cookbook or one of her cookbooks. But I think even with the low carb, we could kind of incorporate this with that. It's not super low carb because of the squash or this maple syrup, but we'll talk about some things you can do to, make it a little bit healthier. But this is delicious. So let me show you what we need here. So we need the squash, which I got from my friend's garden. We need Brussels sprouts, which are right here, which I got those from Sam's. You're gonna need a pound of Brussels sprouts, a pound of the squash. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, salt and pepper, a cup of pecans, and a half a cup of cranberries, or you could probably use any dried fruit. You could even use raisins or something if you wanted. So that's what all this recipe calls for. And one thing that we did, so the first time we had this, we did have the 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, and it was delicious. So then when I came and made it at home, I thought I'll just cut it in half, the maple syrup, just so we don't have quite so much sugar in it. So I did 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and it was still delicious. So you guys could definitely give that a try. But what I want to show you here really quick, because I didn't really know how to do Brussels sprouts. I had done them one other time and I burnt them. And so one of the things that it's going to call for in this recipe is you're going to rinse and dry the Brussels sprouts, because I guess they do better if they're dry. And so we've got the Brussels sprout here, and you're going to just cut the end off, and then you're going to cut it in half, which is what I've done with this one. So I've cut the end off, and then I don't know if you can tell, and then I just cut it in half. And so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the squash. And the best way, because it's so hard to peel, because it needs to be peeled, I'm going to use this peeler, and it makes it super, super simple. So once it gets peeled, then I'm going to cut the ends off, and then I will just start cutting it into, 1 inch, I guess, size pieces. And so we can mix everything all together, and I will show you how that looks as soon as I'm done. Okay, so I have chopped all the ingredients, and I have put them right in here. And so the squash, I just, I cut about that size. And I have to admit, this is the worst part about this recipe, is I hate cutting squash. Even though the little shredder, it makes it easier to peel get the skin off, it's still, squash is just really hard to do. But anyway, so that's my least favorite part about this. One thing I do is I had just bought pecan halves, and I just put them in my Vitamix. And then if you do on low and just kind of grind them up just a little bit so you can kind of get them, more of it scattered everywhere. But look how pretty and colorful. And so we have, and also I was wrong. I said 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It's actually 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So I've cut up everything, put it in the bowl. We've got the Brussels sprouts, the butternut squash, dried cranberries, pecans, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I did just do a tablespoon of maple syrup, because here in a little bit I am going to add the other tablespoon of maple syrup and see how, I've had it before, but it was still good. But the 4 tablespoons were really good, but the 2 tablespoons are still good too. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add this onto my baking tray, and I've lined this with some olive oil. Sorry, no, you can do olive oil, but I have put aluminum foil, just makes it easier for cleaning. And I'll show you how it looks whenever we're done. Okay, you guys, so here's the finished product. And get my, so there it is. And I got to reading the directions again. And what I was supposed to have done was bake it for 25 minutes at 425, and then pull it out, and then add another tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Put that in a bowl with the maple syrup, and then add the cranberries and pecans to it then. And I had already done everything except for add the maple syrup, the 2nd tablespoon of maple syrup. So, but when I realized I had done that, I tasted it, and it's delicious. So I hope you guys will give this a try, so you can do it either way. I will actually have the recipe, I'll have it down below, and then you can decide if you want to pull it out and add, maybe makes the cranberries maybe not I don't know, it's still really delicious, so I'm not really sure the difference. I think this is the way I've always made it. Finally read the directions like all the way through. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Maybe this will be something you could take with you to Thanksgiving dinner, and everybody will love it. And especially for people that do not like Brussels sprouts or have never tried them. This is a great way because it's sweet and it's just really good, and I think they'll start liking Brussels sprouts. So please give this a thumbs up if you like this video, or if you think you might want to give this a try, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.